designated survivor. Now, for those who don't know what that is, that whenever the American have their State of the Union, which is like that opening of Parliament, one member of the cabinet has to stay behind so that if the government building is for some reason blown up, then there's somebody left to run the government.
I like that.
This has happened in the West Wing where they've gone through this process,
God,
but they
people
didn't
have
do.
got to have. If you need new bingo cards, you need
Yeah,
to send
I've started a new game, but basically they've talked about this. But of course now they've actually done a whole series based around what would happen. It stars Kiefer Sutherland,
Come on. Oh, I
and it's
thought you were gonna
very difficult to not see him as Jack Bauer,
Mm.
even though he's quite a different character, because he's in a government area. It's quite difficult.
But even in that thing, what was that called? Touch.
Yes.
The thing with
Oh
the kids.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was hard not to see him as Jack Bauer, and he wasn't in
Yeah.
a government setting there, was he?
Is it Natasha McElhone, his wife?
Yeah. Well
There
done.
you are. Look at
Oh,
that.
The
bloody
Truman
hell.
Show.
And Maggie Q from
From
Stalker
Sesame Street.
is very good. Is she from Sesame? Boom, boom. And she's very good. She plays an FBI
I'm very
agent.
proud of that. Let's just let that settle in.
Well, Gary, do you want to say that in this, he becomes the president? This has one of Luke's favourite things that starts with the big event where, like, what do they call it? I was going to say the House of Commons. What's it called?
It's the government. It's the Capitol building.
Capitol building is blowing up.
Yeah.
And we see this. We see Kiefer and Natasha McElhone
it
looking at it, and then flashes to 10 hours earlier.
Yeah.
But particularly on this, it annoyed me because in all the trailers, this is the thing they've been building up to. So nobody who's seen anything about this is not expecting that anyway. Then they start with it, and does nobody else find that an annoying?
In a way, you sort of, what's the Kiefer's character? You think at the start he's going to be another sort of like forceful, like Jack Bauer character, and you see him as this like mild-mannered housing minister who's about to be demoted into some sort of ambassador role, and he's getting sort of tossed over for a new blood and a new sort of lick of paint, and then he gets made the designated survivor. And the second half of it is all.
If you've got tossed over on your bingo card, please make a note of that.
Luke, come on. And then the second half is now he becomes president. What are we going to do with this mild-mannered fella who nobody really knows? Can we make him presidential?
He's a bit of a div, isn't he, really?
Clearly, they did very well in showing the kind of like, you really don't expect him to be in this role. But as a West Wing fan, one of the things I loved was also as well...
Tick, boom!
Shut up. They had this whole thing about the presidential voice, which is something that comes up in that as well.
And
this
the
idea... the idea that you have to appear strong for the country, you have to say the right things in the right
does
manner.
Have quite a boring sort of monotonous voice, which works quite well for his like Jack Bauer mutterings. You know, I'm Jack Bauer, and I'm your only chance to get out.
I'm gonna torture you.
Is it Kiefer's contract that if he does a TV show, he has to have annoying children? Because three series,
wouldn't they? Yeah.
And also, I don't know if you noticed this, Gary. I mentioned this to Luke last night. That Cal Penn, who plays like the speechwriter in this, was on the Barack Obama government. I believe he was an advisor to him.
Really?
Yes.
No. That's cheat chat. That's
Cal Penn. Cal Penn.
Cal Penn. He was in House.
That's what I just said. Cal Penn. Yes.
Right.
He
was
left
he really?
House to go
He left
to
House
Obama.
to become to.
I did not know that.
And then he had to briefly leave the government to do the third Harold and Kumar film.
I struggle with this. I got past the annoying device because I kind of expected it, but I just think there weren't any real characters in this. There was no one to hang my hat on. I didn't know anything about them. I didn't really care about any of them specifically, and I just didn't connect to any of them, and therefore I didn't really care about what was happening around them.
You use this a lot of times for sort of negative things about TV. Do you have to have a character to?
I think. Well, we're coming on to a show. We're going to talk about in a minute that I think
the ITV program.
You
use that, and Argyll you mentioned as well.
I think there has to be something because
even this, which is like a sort of brainless action show, as Gary said it in the introduction, that it's hard not to see Kiefer as anything else but Jack Bauer. I would have liked. I think it's a good idea. I think the characters were well done. I think what it is it needed a different actor playing the Kiefer role. I think if as I mentioned to you last night, someone like Richard Jenkins, like a character actor, someone who's not known for action,
I would have probably believed in it more if he was somebody who completely
or
fish
something
out
like a Mark
water.
Ruffalo, or someone
Yeah.
like that. You know, so I'm just trying to think of like character actors,
Mm,
or even like another person who won an Emmy and back to that, Ben Mendelsohn. But
yeah, I
Oh
think
yes.
there's scope because basically you still got a whole element of this people who have you don't know who the bad guys are yet. You've got the inside bad guy, the defense secretary or the defense guy, the chief of staff guy, and you think he's going to be evil or underhand, but you don't know who laid the bomb, so that's going to be interesting. I would say there's a chance that this could end up being a bit like Flash Forward, where
What
the
axe?
rubbish.
no,
Yeah.
where the incident is more exciting than the show, and therefore once the incident dies down, there isn't much of a show left. So they're going to have to
Interesting. Yeah.
work hard to make because the show is really
Because how long will he be an outsider and a fish out of
well,
water?
and
Really?
exactly, and how long, and of course he's only the designated survivor in the first episode. After that, he's the president.